In this week's show, we're targeting the subject of you as a race driver attracting the attention of race teams. And this is a team that you want to get into, you want their seat, you've proven that you're good, you probably haven't got the cash to pay for the seat, so you need a favor, you need them to let you in. Right, the question that inspired this was from Russell, and he asked, Enzo, I'm not racing this year due to budget, but even though I won 5 races last season, I still didn't get any decent offers or free offers from the teams in that championship. What can I do to prove that I am worth backing by a team? Now, this is a very popular conundrum for drivers that are pretty quick but don't have the cash to actually go all the way or to progress in motorsport, because as you know, motorsport is stupidly expensive. So this kind of situation comes up a lot. There's a lot of good drivers out there without seats, I promise you. But in me saying that, it doesn't make it feel any better. It's difficult. When you feel like you've proven something, you've done what you can, you've taken yourself as far as you can with the money you've got, and you've won races, you think, this is it. I'm going to make it now. Someone's going to notice me, but no one picks up the phone. Nothing happens. You speak to a few people, you send a few emails off, no one's really interested because they can't offer you a deal or anything, any opportunity. It's really hard to take. I was there myself. And I want to obviously share how I kind of did it. I still got in with race teams and other drivers, by the way, but also the reality of the situation that you're in and how we can kind of win this game. It's not easy, of course, but there's certain things you can do to increase your chances of success. But before we get into that, I want you to see things as they really are from a team's perspective, because if you see it that way, then you can kind of start to get your head around of how you can actually make progress and get teams to back you a bit more. To do this right, you've got to do the math. So I think the best thing to do is to take this camera off and just to hit home, to understand exactly that this is a racing business. And if you want to play the business game, not talking sponsorship, but selling yourself to race teams, then you're going to have to approach this like an entrepreneur would and do things on the computer, which means let's get a budget in place. Let's understand the whole industry as a whole so you can sell to a race team as you need to. If you to go to a GB3 team, they will say it's going to cost you £550,000 for the season. Now that's a lot of cash. That might freak you out, but let's look a bit deeper. If we take into consideration what they've got to pay for, they've got to pay for the workshop. Now, this workshop could be a tiny little garage on the side of a house, or it could be a huge factory like an F1 team would have. So they've got to bring them costs into mind. Then you've got the workforce. As a team boss, you've got to pay people like the team manager. Maybe you've got one of them. You've got the engineer. You've got the mechanics on the car. You've got the truckie. There's a lot of people involved to run a car. Then you've got the car itself. Not cheap. Especially with GB3 this year, when I'm recording this, is a new car. So the teams have to go out and buy 3 new cars. That's a heavy layout, right? They've got to pay to maintain the car. They've got to pay for the transport. They've got to register you in the championship. They've got to pay all the insurances involved, all the R&D. Maybe they've got a simulator that they've got to use at the workshop. As you can imagine, all these costs add up. Now you've seen the figures, you can kind of get your head around how a team boss will see it, because they've got to run this business. A race team is a business. They're not taking loads of profit, believe it or not. If they can run the car and they can win, they don't care if they're kind of on a normal wage themselves, as long as the business is thriving, as long as they're winning. They're just like you. They want to win and they want to have a career. The actual money they earn off it, it's great, you know, they want that, of course, because they've got to pay for their living expenses and everything, but it's not the be all or end all, and a lot of teams are like that. So don't feel like you're just being ripped off and they're double and trebling the price just because they want to take it home. This is an expensive sport. You as the driver are one of the things, or one of the entities that bring money into the sport. So a team will look at a driver and look at drivers in the paddock as if they're pound signs, dollar signs, euro signs walking around, because they're the ones that are going to pay their expenses. They won't go out and get sponsors, a lot of teams, because they're finding it just as difficult as you to get sponsorship. So what they have to do is they have to get drivers in to pay the budget and pay for most of the budget to get this thing running on track. So that's their reality. So when you come to them as a driver and you say, right, I'm really good, I can win in your car, and I know that they're winning the year before, by the way, this team. I'm really good. I can win your car. Can you give me a drive or a cheaper drive? They look at the budget, the balance sheet, and think to themselves, well, that means I, as a person, or the company, is physically going to be, or literally going to be paying you money. So say if it's $550 for the season, you want it for like $250 because you think you're winning and you can win in my car. Where am I going to find that 300 grand? That's money I'm missing out my back pocket. It's money I'm going to be spending on getting this car race ready and at the front of the grid and paying all these people to run it. Who's going to pay for that? You're asking them to literally dip in their pocket and give you their hard-earned post-tax money straight to you, effectively, because they could go out into the whole industry and get drivers to pay that $550. Why would they give it to you for $250 or less or free? Think about this now. I want you to stop seeing things from your perspective of woe is me and I can't believe I can't get a driver and I'm worth it, I've got these dreams and the teams won't pick me up, and start to see it from their angle, their financial angle. They're restricted to what they can offer, right? Now, there's certain things that a team can do. They can get a driver in, another driver, a teammate of yours, if they really want you. If they say, right, we've got to knock 200 grand off this somehow for this driver because I really believe in them and I think they can put our car at the front of the grid. 200 grand is doable. I'm going to have to charge, if I'm a team boss, and I got to make the balance sheet what it needs to be to run the business, I'm going to have to charge the teammates more money than the 550, 100 grand on top each. Or if we get one driver that wants to pay, or we think he can pay 200 grand, 750 for a 550 drive, and he knows that most other drivers are paying 550. If I can pull that off as a team boss and get that teammate to pay way over the market value, then I can knock the price off yours. But you can imagine that's a hard ask for a business to do, for a team boss to say, I'm going to charge them way over the market to give you a discount, because they're going to find out. The other driver's going to find out that they're being overcharged. It causes problems. They find out how much you're being charged for the drive. So it's not easy for a team. So don't just think you can walk in and say, you know, I'm so-and-so and I've done these results, so give me a drive and I deserve it. See it from their perspective. Always important when you're trying to sell something to somebody, which is what you're doing, to see things from their viewpoint, because then you can understand what they're going through and how to answer their objections and give them what they want. All right. So just to give you an overview of the whole thing, that's the situation you're in. That's the reality of it. So when it comes down to you actually getting a team to give you something, a discount or a free drive, then there's a few pointers. The first thing I want you to really remember, and it's something I've preached a lot, bills and dreams. When you're targeting teams, you've got to understand what it is they actually need. They either need their bills paid, which is what we've just been through, and most of them actually do, by the way. They haven't really got these big sponsors paying for them. So most of them need the money, okay? But now and then, you also get teams that are predominantly, they've got cash, they can offer a seat fairly free or cheap. They've got the dreams side of it. And then when I call the dreams, I mean they want to win. They've got their own dreams in motorsport. So they need the bills paid and they need the dreams of what they want to achieve, and they need a driver to help them do that, which is win. So if you go to a team that you know is already winning, so you can't really offer much value apart from keeping them there, and they're expensive because they've got a big workshop, they've got teams in different championships, they've got a lot of things to pay for, then it's really hard to get a deal with them unless the boss, the team boss, actually likes you so much that they're willing to put their own money in. That's a personal relationship thing. That's something you've got to ask every team, obviously, is a deal can be done here because I just haven't got the money, but I have got the speed. Always start with that. But just understand that the big teams often don't give you throw you a bone that much. So it's difficult if you haven't got the cash to actually get in there. But I would say if you're in a sort of a situation where I just need to get on track, you can go towards the teams that haven't had very good results for a long time and offer them your services as a driver. And you're going to pretty much guarantee that you're going to put them near the front of the grid. And in doing that, they get a better reputation. They start to attract more drivers to their team and they start to earn money. So you're putting them up the grid more than they've been before. There's two angles there, right? So either super wealthy team that have got the results already and they're attracting all the top drivers, you can try them, but don't be surprised when they say, no, we can't offer you anything. Because some of these teams have got investors, by the way, business people paying into the team, and they want return on investment. If they're already winning, they don't need to give deals. If they're struggling a bit, then maybe they do need to give a deal, but you just have to look and treat each team differently. See the opportunity that you could actually fill for them. If it's a team that used to win and they don't now, and over the last 2 years they've been struggling, but you're a winning driver and you're proving you are, then that's worth a conversation. Go and see them. But also, like I say, look at the teams that are near middle to back of the grid. Normally, they might be desperate to get their results up there and improve the results. So they need a driver who can just put them up there. And they're willing to invest their own money into do that, which means give a cheaper drive. But just like going with sponsorship, when you're trying to target companies, research them. Have a look at what they've been doing recently and see if there's a good fit there, because then that could be saving you a lot of time when you're trying to preach to them, but they're just not interested. Or you can just spot a team and go, right, they definitely need better results. Right, there's a flip side to this. If you go to teams that are at the back of the grid and you start to get really good results from them, they take you on, brilliant. They say, right, we'll give you a free drive, or you just pay for the tires or something like that. But we'll get you in our car and you're going to get us to the front of that grid, all right? Otherwise, you're out. So you're kind of performance related. I was in this situation all the time. This is what I always used to do. I always used to say, I'll win in your car, I'll win in your car. And I said it to enough people until I got one team where the timing was correct and they had an opportunity. Their current driver, pulled out, even though they paid some money or whatever it is. Their financial situation allowed them to put me in the car for next to nothing or free. I then have to go and win and obviously do better results than all the other teammates and everything just to get them up there. The downside to that is that as soon as you start winning, they start to gather attention from other drivers, and it's not long before another driver wants your seat that you've just been winning in or getting up the front with, and they've got money. So the team then have to let you go. So as another really important reminder here, if you haven't got the cash, but you've got the skill and speed and you've proven it, your seasons can be just like patchwork quilts. Honestly, you can be up 1 year, down the next. You can start the season with a great drive, but only be out of the drive halfway through because you've done that well. It's attracted attention from other drivers. Or you can have nothing all the way up until August, and all of a sudden you finally find a team who has a driver that's pulled out, and then you're in. So it's all over the place. It's really insecure if you're a driver without cash. If you're a driver with cash, loads of it, fine. You contact the team in August, talking about the following season. You see how much they want to, charge you. You pay them, and you've got the seat for a year. If you haven't got that cash at all, you haven't got a sponsor, you haven't got someone paying or delivering that kind of value to the team for you, then it's always like this. It's always like, I'm now in March, April, still haven't got anything, but you're hustling away. You've got to be prepared to do that, but don't lose heart. Don't lose faith. You have to keep on pushing, keep on talking to teams all the time. Get yourself out there. Make sure that your PR is good. So when I talk about PR, I mean how the teams see you as a driver, what the paddock think of you, your reputation. Are you talking to people at the track and getting on with them? And I mean different teams. If I was to go into the paddock and ask the teams about you, what would they say? You've always got to ask yourself that. So you've got to make sure your rep is really good and you've got good relationships with all the teams, as many as you can. Because if you're getting good results, you've got relationships with teams, and your comms are really good. So you're talking to them, your communication, you're talking to them constantly, something will happen. So when it comes to Russell and a lot of drivers out there, what I see is they may be winning on track. However, their personality, it's not coming through. You're not communicating to race teams. You're not letting them know that you're searching for something, for an opportunity. You're not really connecting with the paddock. So you could be the best kept secret. You're winning now and then, but no one really cares because they don't really know you. So Russell, it might be that. It might be you're not talking to enough people and not getting on with them. This is really important because I've seen so many drivers, honestly, that are not even that good, and they haven't got any cash, but somehow they end up in a car each year. And it's frustrating as a driver who had talent, and I could see this happening. Like, how the hell did he get the drive? I beat him easily. You'll find yourself saying that, honestly. However, they're still driving now. Not that I want to, but back then I did. And it used to crush me. When this happens, you've got to ask yourself, instead of letting it beat you like I did sometimes back then, you've got to ask yourself, what are they doing? What are they doing better than me? And I used to think, oh, they're brown nosing, they're talking to everybody. And actually, that's the secret. You've got to talk to everybody. I was talking to a lot of people, but these guys were going to golf with these team bosses. They were in there and it's like, okay, they were great at networking. I wasn't so great at networking. They were the next level. And still, with gentleman drivers, they used to get drives with and all this stuff. I'm like, that's the way to do it. So I know it seems like it's difficult to a lot of people to be out there selling yourself, but you've got to. If you haven't got the cash, then you need people to offer you opportunities. That means winning people over. This goes for anything in life. If you really want to get forward, people are the entities that will say yes or no. So if you get them to say yes more often and they take a keen eye to you, they think you're worth the shot, they want you to do well, you deserve that shot, then you're much more likely to succeed or at least get a drive. And that's what this is all about. So drivers out there, if you're not getting the opportunities that you feel like you deserve, take a little look. Understand the industry as a whole, like I said, how much it costs and the reality of it. But take a look at yourself and understand or figure out, okay, have I got the results? Yes, no. That's going to be a big thing just there. What's my PR like? What do people think of me? Is my social media good? Is it aligned with the kind of driver they want to align with themselves? Or is it just me boozing up with my friends and it's not really serious? It's a bit flashy, but actually there's no work ethic stuff there. They can't really understand how serious I am about racing. Your social media must promote that. Social media is just one part of PR. Your biggest part of PR is face-to-face. Do they connect with me? Am I talking to enough teams to get this over the line? And if you're doing that, if you're wooing them, if you're in their face in a good way, something's going to happen.